Hello everyone, my name is Cosolix and welcome to the video. Today we are going over a Lance matchup tier list. I'm going to be showing you which matchups Lance is great at, which ones are even, Lance kind of sucks at, and what's god awful. So I'm going to kind of be going over all of that. If you do enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe. And if you want me to go over other weapons and stuff like that, leave them down below if you like this type of content. I will say I got this video inspiration from Boomy from a couple months ago. One of his earliest videos, he did a matchup chart where he went to every weapon, talked about each matchup, but he only talked about it a little bit. I kind of wanted to make an updated version specifically for one weapon at a time, talking about what's good and bad against each weapon. So let's get straight into this. I've got 5 different tiers. Obviously 3 is going to be even, 1 and 2 I'm going to put, I already put Lance usually wins or Lance wins, and I put Lance usually loses and Lance loses. First matchup is Lance against Gauntlets. Lance wins 70-30. So the reason for this, there's many reasons. Well, Gauntlets are a string heavy weapon. They don't have so many combos that like they're not as good as Kataras, where Kataras have way more true combos and string follow-ups, so they're fairly easy to get out of. But Lance just completely out prioritizes Gauntlets. Gauntlets has 3 horizontal light attacks on the ground. Side light is a bit more diagonal but starts horizontal, down light and end light. Lance will out prioritize all of those on the ground. So Gauntlets have no chance on the ground. The only chance Gauntlets has is off stage, and Lance players don't go off stage. If you do, you're kind of dumb to ever go off stage against Gauntlets. And this tier list is specifically for on stage matchups. What wins neutral? Lance has more priority both in the air and on the ground. Gauntlets in the air does have Nair, which nothing on Lance really covers that. So if a Gauntlet player gets under you, then Gauntlets can get an attack there. But if they're under you, that means they've already won neutral. So Lance wins neutral. Sarah beats Gauntlet Sarah when they're even. Nair, I'm pretty sure, has more priority. Like Lance Nair has more priority than Gauntlet Dare. So when Lance gets that below stage, it can kind of juggle Gauntlets. And then grounded, it just doesn't compete. And Lance has more combos, so it's easier to build up damage. So yeah, this is just not a close matchup for Gauntlets. So Kataras, 60-40, Lance usually wins. And the reason why Kataras are here is because Kataras have a couple more true combos than Lance. Kataras has a couple attacks that are way less punishable than Lance, Nair and stuff like that. Nair and light D-light, like Lance can't really do anything. On the ground, Lance wins. However, Kataras side light does have a lot of priority and momentum. So if you start up before a Lance side light or end light or D-light, then you'll have a chance. But Lance is more priority on the ground and horizontally. The only reason, like another big reason, Kataras can win this if they're really buffed. Like side light, end light, if that was true consistently like it was last patch, then I think it's about a 50-50 tie, because I think right now Lance can get out of the combos and reset neutral and then win neutral either 50-50 or a bit, like I think Lance wins neutral a bit more than 50-50, 60-40, and can get out of the combos. Therefore, like, kind of the matchup just isn't good for Kataras because of Lance's priority. The only thing Kataras have going for it is they're very quick when Lance is a little slow, but straight up matchup, it's very hard to get in on Lance, especially because of all the horizontal priority. Scythe. Scythe is kind of the same thing. I think Scythe's a bit better in raw neutral game than Kataras and Gauntlets. However, Lance still out prioritizes its grounded options, side light, and like the only thing that doesn't is downlight, but downlight on Scythe is very hard to space consistently. And in raw neutral, Scythe doesn't have any true combos, so they're strictly reads, when Lance has a bunch of automatic true combos. And when Lance out prioritizes most of your grounded kit, it tends to win. Scythe destroys Lance off stage, but this is not off stage, this is on stage, and Lance's grounded kit with side light, end light, and D light will almost always out prioritize anything on Scythe. Scythe still has a chance, obviously, but because you'll get those one hits, Lance can kind of do more damage because it's at least 2 hits every single time. Sword is very similar to Kataras, except they have a couple more true combos, but Sword's grounded kit is downlight, endlight, and sidelight, which are all horizontal options, and Lance just beats it all. Obviously, you can still do well with these weapons, however, Lance does have that priority, and it makes it a struggle when playing these specific weapons against Lance. And any Lance player shouldn't have too much of a problem unless they're really losing neutral. Just purely skill. This is all theoretical neutral. People are even in skill, but Sword just can't out prioritize Lance on the ground. The only thing Sword has going for it is the low startup on neutral light with some priority. If you see a Lance Sarah start, then Sword will always beat it. However, both sidelight, endlight, and D-light are almost unreactable. Sarah is reactable, which is fine, but on its grounded kit and raw neutral, Lance wins. And horizontally, Sword doesn't have that much priority either. So something like a Sword Sarah will get out prioritized by a Lance Sarah as long as those active frames come out. Okay, 50-50 tie. Everything in 50-50 tie has a grounded option that can either beat Lance or can clash with it. So Bow has Bow downlight, which out prioritizes everything on Lance. The only thing Lance really is going for it is its horizontal options will out prioritize anything else. So if I do like a dash jump Sarah against the Bow legend, then the only thing they have is endlight. They have no other options, and endlight is very hard to hit. It's very small. It does cover a bit, but the hitbox is very tiny, and it's hard to space properly with low active frames. So I think it goes 50-50. I think purely grounded, Bow could win, but because of Lance's aerial kit, I think it just can win when it's like slightly in the air, but it's really a 50-50. I think they both have good combos. They're usually 2-hit combos. Bow has a couple more combos, but doesn't do as much damage as Lance. So like I think it's a 50-50 tie when any Lance legend is playing against Bow. Hammer's kind of in the same thing as Bow. The only difference is Hammer sidelight out prioritizes any Lance option on the ground and also in the air. I'm pretty sure Hammer sidelight out prioritizes Lance Sarah. If not, then they clash. The only problem with Hammer is Hammer sidelight has no follow-up options, so it's really not that big of a deal if they clash. That's why I think they just go 50-50. I think it's based on whoever kind of gets that combo starter. For Hammer, it's either endlight or downlight. For Lance, it's like D-light or sidelight. Spear is also the same thing. I will admit Spear is a lot more annoying to play against than the other two, and the reason why is because Spear endlight out prioritizes any Lance grounded option, and I'm pretty sure out prioritizes a falling Sarah. However, Spear also has downlight, which can counter a Lance dash jump Sarah, because the downlight is a combo starter and we'll pick it up. But the only thing Spear doesn't have is any aggressive options. Like a dash endlight doesn't have that much momentum. So as long as Lance kind of waits it out, it's not that big of a deal to play against. I think Spear wins the matchup a tiny bit more than Hammer and Bow, but it's not enough for it to be a 60-40. I still think it's a 50-50 as long as the Lance player is patient. If you're trying to aggress on Spear, then Spear wins, but if Spear is trying to aggress on anything else wins. Everything on Spear is stationary, and Sidelight kind of sucks. Sidelight has a ton of recovery frames, and it's hard to aggress with it. 60-40 in favor of the weapon that isn't Lance is Cannon, Guns, and Orb. So Cannon has Downlight, and Downlight is a true combo starter, a string starter, and a kill option. True kill option, Downlight, and Air. So that is kind of why Cannon wins. And Cannon Endlight also has a lot of priority relative to like something like a Lance Downlight, because Lance Downlight has a lot more active frames. Cannon Endlight is safer and is a bait, plus Cannon Downlight to kill, and Cannon has a little bit of vertical coverage with Sidelight. All three kind of cover every option with a lot of priority. Specifically, Downlight will beat any grounded Lance option, and a Cannon Endlight will counter any Lance aerial option for aggression because of the low active or low startup. For example, if a Lance player is on the ground trying to Sidelight, Cannon can just downlight with a lot more priority as long as you space it properly. So Lance has to be forced into the air a tiny bit, and when it is in the air, Lance will do a falling stare, and that stare is easily punished by an end light on Cannon. And end light also has string follow-ups. So yeah, it's Cannon's favor. Guns. Guns out-prioritize every grounded option on Lance. The only problem with guns is they don't have that much aggressive options. It's just Sarah, which isn't bad, but only has follow-ups at white health. But because guns kind of out-prioritize every grounded option on Lance and aerial options, Lance has to wait it out. That's just how it works. Guns win that neutral game, neutral exchange, pretty easily against Lance. The only thing guns don't have going for is like that aggression, but they can still play with a very baity playstyle, and as long as you hit one, guns have a lot of true and a lot of string starters. And like Nair, D-Light has D-Light, Dare, GC, Downlight, into Nair, stuff like that. Guns wins that matchup just strictly because grounded priority. Orb is a bit different because I think Orb grounded doesn't actually beat Lance grounded, but I think it's just one move on Orb. Orb is very aerial, and something like a downlight will put you into the air, so you can use downlight to bait, and a Sair has barely any startup frames, so Orb Sair basically beats every option on Lance. It's got priority, low startup, and can punish anything on Lance. The only thing Lance kind of has going for it is like that initial priority, but like something like a Lance Sair has too much startup. An Orb Sair is going to beat it, or an Orb Sair can wait it out and easily punish it. I just think Orb kind of just wins that matchup. It's kind of like Sword and Kataras, but like better against Lance. It's kind of insane. And Orb has some of the most consistent combos in the game, and just easy damage build up. Especially in neutral, you can use D-Light to kind of put yourself in the air, and both Lance Sidelight, Endlight, and D-Light don't actually punish an Orb Downlight technically until the recovery frames of an Orb Downlight, because the Downlight will start you here and then put you down after you kind of fall from being in the air. But if I try and like stuff that Orb Downlight with an Endlight or a Sidelight, I'm not going to be able to hit it. And also Orb Dare kind of beats every Lance grounded option because Lance doesn't have any diagonal or vertical coverage. So dash jump Dare on Orb acts as a string starter, so it can aggress very easily with it, and use Dare to also bait, and use Sair to punish. It's kind of insane. So the number one worst matchup for Lance is Axe. Axe out prioritizes Lance on the ground. It's slow, but it's fast enough to not get punished. If you see like an Axe Sair coming out, Lance doesn't have an option that punishes an Axe Sair before it comes out. You have to wait till the move is over. So for example, let's say it's Sword into Axe and you see an Axe Sair, you can Sword Sair before the Axe Sair comes out. Same with like an Axe Recovery, you can like Dare or Ground Pound. Lance isn't as quick, so you can't do any options to stuff it and punish it before the move comes out on Axe, despite seeing it, because Axe is very easy to, like, it's got a lot of startup frames, so it's easy to see what move it is before the hitboxes come out. But Lance doesn't have quick attacks. Every attack is very similar to Axe, where it's got a lot of startup frames, so there's no way to actually punish it before the hitboxes come out. So that comes for Sair, Dare, Ground Pound, Recovery. Lance doesn't have any options to counter it, and Axe out prioritizes in every way. On the ground, Side Light, when Lance tries to land, D-Light, it's not pretty for Lance. The only thing you have going for it is Lance players with high defense, because you just have to really wait out Axe and just punish it when it misses, and you're strictly relying on when the Axe players miss their attacks. It's not pretty for Lance. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this little tier list matchup. I'm sure other pros are probably going to watch this and being like, hey, guess what? I'm going to play Zol because Cannon Axe, and you are right. Please don't do that to me, or I'm going to have to counter pick you. But yeah, thank you for watching, and this is my tier list and matchups against Lance. See you guys all later. Take care. Peace.